I'm back. I'm gonna talk about something that really kind of sticks in my craw. Every time I see it, and every time I see it even more, it just bugs me more. The idea that space-time is curved, I don't like that idea, because it boils down into the sun is a bowl and we're riding around the edges like a steel ball rides around the edge of a roulette wheel. That bothers me, because every time I think of it, I think, no, space-time is not flat. If it was flat, there would be no galaxies or stars going straight up from the, let's just use the sun as our reference object, straight up from the North Pole. Nor would there be any objects that would be up there. Let's call the North Pole up from the sun, using the sun as a reference. The sun has a North Pole, by the way, and a South Pole, by the way, and it doesn't matter which direction. Either direction you go, you'll find objects that direction. And I don't like that. It doesn't mesh, it doesn't blend. Something ain't adding up about it. Space-time, according to all the little documentaries I've watched and all the little mathematical equations that they've put on there, which I gotta tell you, some part of me is absorbing that and utilizing it, but and then I'm generating images in my mind how it works. So based on everything that everybody has to say, space-time permeates everything. That means in this little picture here, I got a little finger, I'm going to point it. That means in this picture, this little hole down here is permeated by space-time. This little divot, this little bottom of the bowl that our star inhabits. Space-time permeates all of that. It's three-dimensional. It's up, down, left, right, backward and forward. No less than that. And some people are beginning to say space-time is a fourth dimension in which everything else rests. There would be no star systems above us, there would be no star or galaxies above us, there would be no galaxies below us, in referencing the solar system. Or if you want to use the Milky Way galaxy as a reference point, there would be no galaxies above it, and yes, our galaxy or the main object that our galaxy rotates around has north and south pole. There would be, in using north as up and south as down. I don't know why they want to do that, but anyway, you know, it becomes relative. Anyway, it bothers me. Everything would be on a single plane, like a sheet of paper. Well, if it's a sheet of paper, so what I'm saying is, we are space-time. And that's not a philosophy. That's just an accumulation of mathematical principles. We are space-time. The sun, the whole universe is space-time, including all the matter in it. We are space-time. Including all the apparent gaps in space-time. The whole thing as a whole is space-time. We're just like little fucking croutons floating around in a damn soup. I don't know how else to say it. It's like I have this impossible time trying to describe things to people. But this can't be accurate. Something ain't right with this. This may be a nice tool to rudimentally to describe in a rudimentary way. As sophisticated as it is, it's still rudimentary. Well, how's that for freaking that goes back to quantum theory. You know, I read Einstein's theory of relativity, and I got halfway through it before I realized, holy crap! We ain't nothing but energy. Energy. So here it is, string theory's been floating around for, you know, about 10, 20 years, and, you know, there's about 7 different or 10 different or 20 different versions of string theory going on. But it all boils down to one thing. The strings are energy vibrating at a certain frequency. And the reason a super cool liquid becomes a superfluid that literally is very difficult to hold in a physical container is because it's not bouncing against anything. So the fluid can literally move through a glass jar or a glass beaker. Fascinating idea. That's why it's the molecules ain't moving. They're not taking up space, so they can slip between the cracks in the molecules of the glass beaker. Now I'm sure that everybody's done figured that out, but that's why a superfluid, which is super cold, the molecules are barely moving, can actually drip out sides of a glass jar. You know, by that principle, if you could remain cognizant and in control and could be super cooled, you could walk through a wall. Or drip through it, however that works. I don't... That's... Okay. There's a crazy freaking principle for you. Don't try that. Here's a funny little story in my life. I was... as a young man, I was working in a nursing home that used to be an insane asylum, and during the 60s they started to medicate people and turn them out on the street, so there were fewer people available for a working insane asylum. And what they did was then they converted, and not only that, the insane people that were there were getting old. So they converted the nursing home into a... they converted the insane asylum into a nursing home. Well, enter me. What was it? The late 70s I applied for, late 70s? Maybe 1980, somewhere in there. I worked there almost 6 years. Anyway, I was working there, and I worked nights, and of course in the morning this one particular guy got up, and I seen him walking into a wall. Well, we were a nursing home. We were technically and legally declared a nursing home. Could no longer do behavior modification. I asked that guy, so I couldn't do anything. This was nothing prescribed to do for that guy. I asked him, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm trying to walk through this wall." I said, "You can't walk through that wall?" You gotta be kidding me. If he was a superfluid, he could have just melted through the wall or went through the wall, passed through the wall. Fascinating principle. So do us all a favor. Don't do a crazy thing and start thinking you can walk through a wall. You will look crazy. You may not be, but you will look it. So anyway, I have a problem with space-time, the space-time theory, because there would have to be an infinite number of planes, little rubber sheets upon which would be mass. And they would have to be facing in all different directions. Perhaps you could say, well, that makes up the fabric of space-time. Well, it's more like single sheets in that little vision that I draw up there. So I have another image. When I look at the universe, it started out as, their theory is it started out as a pinpoint and then expanded. Well, it's still expanding, even accelerating after 14 known billions of years, which I have an issue with the size of the universe according to what there are visual. You know, I just saw another documentary that says that space-time is at least 90 billion light years in diameter. So I said, well, that makes a little bit more sense, considering that our galaxy is 100,000 light years in diameter at its edge on. And most people don't think about 100,000 years, but 100,000 years is 10% of 1 billion. Our freaking galaxy does not take up 10% of a planular area of the known universe. It takes up a pinpoint of the known universe at best. Fact of the matter is, you could probably move away from our galaxies far enough that you couldn't even see our galaxy. Oh, one more thing. If they want to prove their theory, theoretically, if space-time is curved, you literally should be able to look out. If you had a telescope powerful enough, you should be able to look out from that telescope and see your ass. Looking forward, looking far enough out there with a high enough resolution telescope, you should be able to see your backside. If space-time is curved. And by the way, it has to be an average. The light would be bent all over the place, and who knows, it could be bent out of direction. It'd be an average. Now, of course, it would take billions of years for your eyeballs to see your ass, and you'd be long dead, but yeah, technically you should be able to see your ass. As a theory, also if light could travel faster than light, which it can't do. That's a humorous observation on my part. But our galaxy may have been old enough that we should literally be able to see the galaxy. Our galaxy, and should be able to identify it. But first you got to know which vector our galaxy, or which vector the bowl that the whole universe would be in if space-time is curved. Maybe you'd have to look out at a right angle. If you could figure out which way the universe is swirling and twirling. If you already know that, then you should be able to look out at a right angle, and smarter guys than me can figure this out from our galaxy. The direction, it's all relative, the direction, which way is the universe rotating. because obviously it's rotating. Somebody tried to describe the universe as a big strand, like a DNA strand. Yeah, well, that's what it looked like to me, but I think they were just, I don't know what they were doing. But I'm saying the whole universe is rotating. Is it rotating around the central point? No, I think it's swirling like a tornado swirls. Is there a central location in a tornado? No. Probably not. I said like, but not a. There's no more matter for this tornado that is our universe to pick up. But anyway, some showed it as rotating like a strand of DNA rotates. It looks like a strand of DNA. If you were asking me, I would say, wow, that looks like DNA. So anyway, there's enough mind-bending information for the novice. They'll probably go, and I'm going, eh. I don't like space-time being described as a single sheet of rubber or pliable material. So it's something about that, something about this description ain't right. I know it. It's like I know it. But I'm not given the words or the image to picture it. I've tried to picture space-time as a big block. Maybe concentrations of matter concentrate space-time, and the further you get away from masses, the less concentrated space-time is theoretically. And that, if I start extrapolating, you could literally travel faster the further away you got from big massive things like a galaxy. So in between the galaxies, with my little description right here, and looking at the picture, you probably could travel faster, if that is. So let me just throw that theory out there. So maybe the trick isn't to compress gravity, but to decompress it. I saw one theory or one description of one way to travel faster than light. You'd have to decompress space-time in front of your vessel, creating a space-time vessel which pulls your vessel forward, thusly ejecting space-time out the rear end of your spacecraft, causing a forward motion, which theoretically, because there's less space-time in front of your vessel, you actually would be able to travel faster. Well, enough said. Click.